Carbohydrates are not all equal. They work quite differently, and it's important to understand carbohydrate metabolism. So if we consider something like a fruit in its whole form, or a whole grain starch that's got high fiber, it's a low GI carbohydrate, for example, something like oats, or vegetables, we get a low glucose curve when we eat those foods, or a lower glycemic index, or we talk about glycemic load as well. When we eat something like a croissant or a chocolate brownie, or 4 teaspoons of sugars in a coffee, we're getting spikes in glucose, or a cold drink, for example. So things that have high sugar or high white flour, refined carbohydrates, they have a far worse impact on glucose levels, and we can't compare them and in the same breath talk about all carbs in one group, because they work very differently. If we look at the carbohydrate metabolism, if you eat a bowl of pasta, and it's a large bowl, and it's almost 3 to 4 cups of pasta, which is about almost 6 to 8 slices of bread, when in fact pasta should only be about a half a cup to a cup, and you're getting excess amount of refined carbohydrates into the system, what you're doing is the glucose is coming in, the glucose moves to the bloodstream, the pancreas then sends insulin to assist to get the glucose into the cell. So the insulin gets sent based on the amount of glucose available in the bloodstream. And when we're eating excessive amounts of glucose, we get excessive amounts of insulin. And that excessive insulin is really a concern, because what it's doing is, first of all, it's creating hyperinsulinemia, which means high insulin levels. That's affecting our fat storage by increasing it, and it's decreasing fat oxidation. It also makes us hungry, and we get an increase in appetite. So we don't want these surges of glucose and these surges of insulin, because they also cause damage at a cellular level, because we're now forcing glucose into that little cell, and we're getting cell damage. And the clinical word for that is oxidative stress. So when we have too much glucose, too much insulin, oxidative stress, we're really causing damage, and we're increasing our risk for chronic diseases of lifestyle. So the key thing is, when you're going to choose carbohydrates, go for the ones that have a higher fiber content, a lower sugar content, and is a whole food in terms of fruit, for example. Avoid the high sugar foods, the sweets, the biscuits, the cakes, the white flour, high GI white breads, for example, white pastas. You get great pasta options now, even that have 10.8 grams of fiber per 100 gram. You get durum wheat options. So select the higher fiber choices and keep the portions controlled.